Phew! That was close. 21 lucky bus passengers in China got a real sinking feeling when a giant hole in the ground almost gobbled them up. The 10-foot wide and 10-foot deep sinkhole opened up on a bus lane in the southern city of Nanning last Friday, just moments after the vehicle passed over it. The narrow escape was captured on CCTV. As you can see from the video, the passengers get a bit of a bumpy ride just moments before the sinkhole appears. The driver of a second bus following behind then slams on the brakes to avoid the massive gaping hole in the road. Footage from aboard the first bus shows just how close its passengers came to being swallowed. Yep, we're gonna bet there were probably more than a few soiled undergarments on that bus. According to the cops, one of the city's subway lines runs under the road where the sinkhole was found. The bus lane was immediately closed for repairs so the authorities could investigate what happened. China is no stranger to sinkholes. There have been several reports of the giant craters appearing without warning at various locations around the country in recent years. Sinkholes commonly occur when rock below the land surface is naturally dissolved by circulating groundwater, causing the land surface to collapse suddenly. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Better watch your step.
Mysterious 260-foot wide hole appears in northern Siberia. The discovery of an enormous crater on the Yamal Peninsula in northern Siberia has triggered an intense debate surrounding its formation. The oval-shaped crater sits nearly 3,000 kilometers east of Moscow. It measures 30 meters in diameter, is around 70 meters deep, and has a lake at its base, 80% of which scientists say appears to be made up of ice. Two popular theories have emerged, explaining how the hole was formed. One theory posits that the hole was created by internal forces, the result of a global warming-related underground explosion caused by the mixture of gas, water, and salt. The other theory hypothesizes the hole was created by a pingo, or a hill formed around a buried chunk of ice in regions of permafrost. In geological formations such as these, the ice pushes through the surface and gradually thaws as it is exposed to the sun, leaving behind a large hole. The crater is located some 30 kilometers away from Bovanenkovo gas field, which suggests it was not likely man-made. Scientists reportedly still need to conduct a number of additional tests in order to debunk some of the wilder theories surrounding the formation of the crater. Other famous massive sinkholes include the Bio-Corn sinkhole in Louisiana, the Corvette Swallower in Kentucky, the Gates of Hell in Turkmenistan, and the seemingly bottomless sinkhole that appeared in Guatemala City in 2010.
Sinkhole swallows vehicles on Australian beach campground. Dozens of holidaygoers got quite the scare over the weekend when the beach they were camping on suddenly collapsed into the ocean. A large sinkhole opened up near Queensland's Rainbow Beach, terrifying campers along Inskip Point on Saturday. Fishermen were the first to notice the shoreline quickly receding into the ocean around 10:30 p.m. Casey Hughes told ABC News it sounded like thunder as the sinkhole was opening. The sinkhole was 150 meters long, 50 meters wide, and 3 meters deep. The sinkhole swallowed up one car, a caravan, a camper trailer, and several tents. 140 people were evacuated from the campground. No injuries were reported. Most of the campers were able to move their vehicles out of harm's way before their campsites disappeared underwater.
Giant unstable sinkholes in Texas are still growing. Satellite images show that 2 sinkholes near Wink, Texas are growing, and that more sinkholes are forming nearby. Sinkholes form naturally when underground water dissolves bedrock, creating voids over time. The voids grow upward toward the surface until the layers above them collapse. Sinkholes can also be created by oil and gas extraction. Drilling fractures underground rock and allows water to permeate and dissolve the interbedded salt, which creates voids underground. Scientists have discovered that 2 infamous sinkholes between the small towns of Wink and Kermit in West Texas, named Wink 1 and Wink 2, are expanding. Wink 1 is about 110 meters across, or roughly the size of a football field. Wink 2 is roughly 270 meters across. Wink 1 appears to be the more unstable of the two. It has a deformation area measuring about 500 meters wide and is subsiding up to 4 centimeters a year. Wink 2 is sinking up to 3 centimeters a year. New sinkholes or one giant sinkhole may form west of Wink 2. In addition, ground along a road used by oil field vehicles directly north of Wink 2 is also subsiding around 3 centimeters a year. Wink 2 is about 3 kilometers from Wink, which has a population of 940 people. Wink 1 is about 6 kilometers from Kermit, which has a population of 6,000. The satellite images were collected by geophysicists at Southern Methodist University in Dallas. They reported their findings in the journal Remote Sensing. The scientists said the sinkholes are unstable and subsiding at an alarming rate. More sinkholes could appear in the future, and they could collapse into one giant sinkhole. The researchers warned that a collapse of the sinkholes, which are near 2 communities and an area heavily populated with oil and gas installations, could be catastrophic. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Giant sinkhole collapse in China is now 3,000 square feet. Terrifying footage showing an enormous sinkhole swallow an entire street in China after an underground tunnel collapses. The collapse is just outside the Federation Garden residential area in Dongguan and was caught on video by nearby residents. The sinkhole was originally a small crater, which had previously swallowed a parked car. Construction workers were attempting to fill the crater with concrete in order to stem the collapse of the underground tunnel. Instead, the crater became a sinkhole, swallowing the entire street and exposing building foundations. One construction worker trapped underground was killed and several others injured. The construction and tunneling were for the city's subway, which has yet to be put into use. The road began suffering collapses as early as August 11th, and this final sinkhole, 3,000 square feet across, is only the 5th collapse this month. Water and gas pipelines were also crushed and broken, adding additional problems such as flooding and possible gas explosions. Hundreds of residents have been evacuated and large stretches of road have been sectioned off, while authorities decide what to do next. The construction company is blaming the collapse on the poor condition of the road and recent heavy rainfall in the area. Hopefully, they've realized that filling in the subway with more cement is a bad idea.